So, another day, another episode. Let's do this. Hey guys, so welcome to episode 6 of Paris Reads, the Hypernova series, Mystery of Planet Creyenia. It's going to be nice and quick today. We're just going to get right to it. I don't have any special announcements to tell you. But I do have to tell you that this chapter is called I Meet the New Chad Brunstick. And there is a character in this chapter where I have no idea how I'm going to voice act his voice. So, fingers crossed that this works out for the best. Scritch, scritch, scritch. It sounds like somebody fishing through a haystack. Opening my eyes, I find myself staring up at the roof. I'm still fully clothed, with my reference papers covering my feet like a throw blanket. Taking off my glasses, I roll over on my side. Within the blurry mess, Ron's figure steps out of the bathroom, smiling. "What's up, bookworm?" he teases, with a toothbrush hanging from his mouth. Lying my head back down, I massage my temples. I feel like I've been in a coma for weeks. What time is it? Morning time. He goes back into the bathroom and rinses out his mouth with water. He returns, wearing a new outfit. Thoroughly confused, I sit up straight, putting on my glasses. He's wearing a dark gray long-sleeved top with thick silver trim that begins at the shoulders and neck, then comes down to the wrists and belt. Around his hip, tucked neatly in a loop and tied tight, is a gold sash representing his status. His pants are black. On each hip is a holster carrying the knuckle bracer-style weapons I saw in his car's back seat. The straps are firm, causing the pants to puff out around the thighs like sweatpants, tightening at the ankles, revealing another layer of gray trim. His boots are dark with a wedge. Ron grins. "Cool, huh? This is my uniform." He spins around so I can get a good look at the golden kraken symbol on his back. I'm the youngest Aver Bronze in the Citadel, so kinda like to show off. He pulls out the bracers, adjusting them around his hands. These bad boys are neo-bracers. To me, they still look like knuckle dusters, with sharp blades on each end. I can see that they could do some serious damage to anyone on the receiving end. My dueling instructor, Aver Gold Poppet, gave them to me. Cool, huh? Very cool. His grin fades as he puts his bracers away. My response, it seems, isn't everything he's hoped. Anyway, I begin. What age are the other trainees going to be? You're in luck, he tells me. Fledgels and Astrobron trainees begin as teenagers, so our equivalent of 15 to 18. It can take 2 or more years to become an Astro Gold, another 2 to become Aver Bronze First Class. He winks and walks over to my bedside, fixing up the mess of paperwork. Don't worry, you'll fit right in. Come on, let's get some breakfast. I don't want to keep you holed up here for your last day of studying. Is it the last day already? I groan internally because I'm still so ill-informed. Come on, let's go. He helps me onto my feet and we make our way towards the elevators and head down to the large open area on the 26th floor where I see other students standing around, chattering and drinking a warm liquid out of a white ceramic mug with the Altera Kraken symbol on the sides. They stare at us as we pass them, their curiosity aroused. My brother ignores them. His smile remains cheerful. Following Ron to the other side of the room, I'm overwhelmed by the number of alien species in the room. That's when it happens. Slam! Hitting something hard. I stumble. I don't know if I can do this seriously. Grr, who are you, tiny man? The voice is like a volcano erupting in my face. I stare at a 7-foot-tall lizard man. He has a gigantic oval face with a square jaw and brown eyes with dilated pupils. His thick brown scales and huge muscles barely fit into his uniform. He has a hunchback, no tail, and huge, meaty legs. Another human, he growls, jerking in my direction. Ron turns to the alien and smiles. Hey, Kiwok, what's up? Kiwok turns to my brother, spitting on his right boot. Ron frowns, kicking his foot, catapulting the goopy mess of spittle through the air. Who is this? Yes, tiny man, Kiwok roars. It sounds so terrible. Ron pretends to clear his ears as a joke. Kiwok, this is Finn, my younger bro. He's going to take the entrance exams with you. Kiwok looks back at me, filled with rage. Straightening my back, locking my legs, I'm ready to dodge a sudden attack. Humans only cause us trouble, Kiwok shouts. Father says humans. He pauses to find the words. Violent, stupid. Great. Another Chad Brunstick. Hey, that's not nice, Kiwok. Don't let what your father says affect your opinion, 'kay? We're friendly. Kiwok stomps towards Ron, who stands firm, raising his brow. Dad, hate you. Useless and stupid. Ron nods. Yeah, I know. I lean in towards Ron and reduce my voice to a whisper. Hey, do you have enemies or something? He shrugs. Let's just say not all the other Aster Bronze ranks like me. Kiwok is glaring at me. Human, you stay out of my way. You slow me down. With that, he lumbers through the hall, pushing others aside in the process. Suddenly, feeling a hand on my shoulder, I spin on my heels, ready to defend myself. But it's Ron. Hey, I'm all for fighting back, he says, but we might want to wait until you pass the entrance exams before dealing with Kiwok. Remember, he says, we came down here for food. He guides me across the open area to the far end where there's a vast cafeteria filled with long white tables. Floating blue discs are used as chairs with students sitting at them, studying or eating. The entire room is on a platform that ends in a sharp dip. A metal fence is in place to prevent students from falling over. The cafeteria's right-hand wall is transparent, giving us an incredible view of space and distant stars. The lights above us sparkle blue and white. On the far left wall are several buffet tables, each with a selection of alien foods and an alien standing behind, serving. Ron heads for one where an alien that appears to be made of gelatinous green ooze is serving the food. Walking over, Ron picks up 2 blue plates. He hands one to me. Go ahead. The food server looks at me, and I see that she has a round, bulbous head with 2 white eyes floating in her face like bubbles. A smile, at least I think it's a smile, forms from the goop as she swishes towards us. Ron, so nice to see you again. This must be your brother. What a charmer. What a cutie. Is he going to take the acceptance exams? I give a soft grin. Yeah, he sure is. What's your name, love? She asks. My words catch in the back of my throat. Ron waits for only a second before answering her. His name is Finn. Wonderful. A great name. A unique name. Ron looks at me with a raised eyebrow as if to say, Go on then. Talk to her. Right, I gulp. Thank you. My pleasure. Good luck with your tests. Help yourself to anything you'd like. I give her a small grin. Thank you. So, what's your name? I'm Pei-Pin, dear. What would you like? I study the foods on display to pick the ones that look the most Earth-like. I point to a green square loaf, tiny pink hash browns sprinkled with brown sugar, 3 neon green sausage rolls with small spikes on the end, then finally a mug filled with coffee. As I point, Pei-Pin uses a spatula-like implement to place my selections on my plate. Thank you, I say. You're welcome, Finn Bates, she answers. At the last table, I see urns set up from which other species are filling their mugs, and I fill my mug from the urn that Ron has picked. The hot brown liquid fills me with anticipation. Finally, something I recognize. Out of all these unfamiliar foods, I'm glad you still have coffee, I tell Ron. He laughs as we find a seat. It's actually called moonsap. It's made from the liquid that seeps out of plants on the tiny moons in the Polixis galaxy. My eyes wander to my mug. Now that he mentions it, the color is lighter than regular coffee. Does it have any bad side effects? Nah, man. It's literally coffee. The more moon sap you drink, the better. Saves the moon's ecosystem by draining the excess sap. Bringing the mug to my lips, I take a sip and let the warm brew move down my throat, settling in my stomach. It's not quite coffee, but it's not awful either. Looking around, I notice that, at a nearby table, a fledgel is glaring. The resentment hidden behind that cold glare sends a shiver down my spine. I turn back to my food. My choices taste strange compared with human foods. The bread is slightly sour. My hash browns are sweet like chocolate, but contain a hint of saltiness. I let the morsels roll around on my tongue before hesitantly swallowing them. Meanwhile, Ron scarfs his down like a garbage disposal. He goes back for seconds just as I set my knife and fork onto the plate. I sit there, trying to take it all in. I imagine trying to describe this all to my mother. As I think of her, a chill runs down my spine, and I get the distinct feeling that something isn't right at home. I try to push the thought aside, but it simply grows stronger, until I feel that something is definitely wrong, and that I should be there. When Ron returns, I tell him all this, expecting him to be dismissive, but he surprises me by taking me seriously. How sure are you? He asks. Well, obviously I can't be totally sure. But the more I try to tell myself that it's my imagination, the stronger the feeling gets. Well, I don't know what to think, Ron says. But you've always been a smart kid. I'll be the first to trust you. So, what are we waiting for? Let's haul off. He stands up and I follow him towards the exit. Bye, Bates Brothers, Papin's sweet voice chimes. In Ron's quarters, he notifies Godsonian Ulmu that he's making an emergency trip to Earth, and then warns departure control of his ETD in 15 minutes. We grab a few things from Ron's quarters and go back to the elevators. After a moment or two, one arrives and whisks us down to Launch Bay 1A on the 448th floor, where Ionia is now docked. She looks cleaner than before. Great, Ron exclaims. Who washed my ride? A pink-skinned alien with yellow eyes walks past. It was that fire-breathing freak, Miv. At the sound of her name, I grip the universal translator in my pocket. She's not a freak, I say. My voice is less than convincing. The alien rolls her eyes, exiting through the nearest door. Ron lets out a heavy sigh, taps his Jericho watch, and lowers Ionia's entry ramp. Once inside, we settle into the cockpit. Ron activates the AI and has Eon run through the departure checks. Eon, engage thrusters. Set course for Earth. Thrusters engaged, Eon's voice advises. He triggers the communication link. Departure control, Windfire 901, ready for departure. Windfire 901, control replies. Area decompression begins. Departure will be via Bay 103 in approximately 38 seconds. Roger that, Ron replies. He switches channels and addresses Eon. Eon, move to Departure Bay 103. Set course for Earth. Bayside Heights. Big Red Slide Park, BC. Flight coordinates set, Eon confirms. We maneuver gently towards a departure bay, some way distant, and hold. The bay door opens. Decompression complete. Departure approved. Eon's voice announces, Departure in 8 seconds. As the countdown ends, Ionia blasts out of the launch bay, hurtling us into space. As before, Eon counts us down before we enter hyperspace. After what seems like a few moments, we exit hyperspace into the Earth's mesosphere. Ron triggers the invisibility cloak. We don't want to be detected by the Skywatch radar network, he says as we plunge into the troposphere. Far below us, a Boeing 747 tracks through the clouds. Moments later, Bayside Heights becomes recognizable. Our speed slows until the Big Red Slide Park appears as a red blot in my vision. Eon prepares us for a silent landing on the remotest edge of the park, an area which few people venture. Like a glove, Ron mutters. His voice is lost to me, drowned out by the hissing of the airlock. Now safely parked, Ron peers up the hill, his brows furrowing. Following his line of sight, I spot 2 children getting off their bikes. They look a little too inquisitive for my liking. They look to be 9 or 10. One of the boys begins jogging down the hill. Shouldn't we do something? I ask. His voice takes on an ominous tone. No. Trust me. Oh God. Is the ship going to electroshock them? Are they going to get blown up? Slam! The first kid runs right into the front of our ship, landing back first on the grass. I wince at the sound, looking aghast at Ron. I see that he's covering his mouth in an effort not to burst into laughter. Then the other kid follows suit. Bam! He slams into Ionia. The kids are stunned and bewildered, but fortunately not seriously hurt. They stagger to their feet and go back up the hill. Both are likely going to have a few bruises. I wonder how they're going to explain it to their parents. At first, I feel bad for wanting to laugh at the thought, but I give in to the temptation and chuckle. Ron is clearly thinking the same thing. Well, that's never happened before. Don't worry, their parents wouldn't believe they ran into an invisible wall in a million years. Ron opens the entrance port with the flick of a switch, and the ramp slides out to the ground smoothly and silently. Take care. Make sure you let Mom and Dad know that you're all right. I'm confused. Aren't you coming with me? Ron shakes his head. Nah, I don't think that's such a good idea. It's against Citadel protocol, and losing me once was bad enough. To lose me again. Oh well, you know. I guess, I admit. After all, I can't tell them you're well, since I'm not supposed to have seen you, let alone signed up to join you. Exactly, Ron says. But I'm sure you'll think of something. This is not what I was expecting, and the idea of facing both Mom and Dad is frightening, especially since I have to rejoin Ron. I'm far from sure I can convince them of the truth, But Ron has a point, and I recognize that I'm going to have to face this alone. Ron pats me on the shoulder. You can do this, little brother. Now get out of here. I've got to leave in case anyone comes to investigate the invisible wall. I'll be back for you in 24 hours. Reluctantly, I hoist my backpack with all my studies in them onto my shoulder and make my way slowly down the ramp. Good luck with the rest of your studying. See you tomorrow. Round noon? Yeah, sounds good. Don't sleep in, okay? He smiles at that, waving goodbye. Once I'm out of the ship, I see the air ripple as Ionia takes off, and although I can't see her, I shield my eyes against the swirling dust that marks her departure. Why do I feel like this is all a dream? Walking back home, bag on my back, I fight against the cold evening air. Glad that I wore my toque, I pull it down over my ears. My t-shirt, on the other hand, does little to protect me. I open the basement door and am greeted by silence. Dropping my shoes onto the mat, I put my paperwork on my bed and make my way upstairs. Puzzled, I note that all the kitchen lights are on, but I can't see anyone. Mom isn't in the living room. I go back into the kitchen. The small island had hidden Mom from view earlier, but she's leaning over the kitchen table with her head in her hands. Her long hair is hiding her expression, but she's clearly distressed, and I'm filled with apprehension. Mom? What's wrong? Walking up to her, I gingerly touch her back with my hand. She turns to look at me. She's a mess. Her cheeks are gaunt. Her eyes are red. Her skin pale. God, I remember when those eyes used to be so bright. Mom, what happened? Tears remain in the corners of her eyes. At the sound of my voice, they roll down her cheeks. She sobs. I put my arms around her and pull her close to my chest. It's always been like this. Mom hides her desperation for months, letting it fester until it eventually boils over. Dad has never been here for her, so I've had to take his place. I'm sorry, Finn. It's okay, Mom. It doesn't matter what the problem is. I'll hold her until she feels better. Mom cries for another minute or two before pulling away and wiping her face. Grabbing a paper towel from a roll on the counter, she brings it to her nose, blowing into it. I just need to apologize to you. You haven't done anything wrong, Mom. I'm okay. I try to give her my best smile, but her frown shows she doesn't buy it. Ever since Ron disappeared that night, we all know I haven't been the same. I don't give you as much attention and care as I should. But it's not your fault, it's mine. God, I don't want to hear this, especially now that I know Ron is alive. Mom, I whisper, I understand. Please don't be so upset, I beg. Seeing Mom like this breaks my heart. She makes her way to the trash can under the sink, throwing away her soiled towelette. Your father called. I don't know how to tell you this, but he doesn't want to come home. Come home? What does he mean by that? He wants us to divorce. He says that he doesn't want to be a part of this family anymore. Divorce? I gasp. Yeah, I know. It's a terrible blow, but we couldn't go on the way we were, so it's probably for the best, really. Clenching my fists together, I bite my lower lip. It takes every bit of self-control not to throw a temper tantrum. How could he do this? I demand angrily. I mean, I'm not deaf or blind. I know that things haven't been going well between you lately, but it's not your fault that Ron went missing. The only reason Dad wants to drown himself in work is because he misses Ron. And now he wants a divorce because he thinks that things won't get better. I'm furious, not only over Dad's selfish attitude, but because of the horrendous situation I'm now in. I'm completely torn. Not only is Ron alive and I can bring him back, if he comes, but we're both sworn to Altair, and in less than 24 hours, I'll also be gone. Mom's gonna be on her own. Mom reaches out, fixing my glasses, which are slowly falling off my face. Underneath them, she can see my tears pooling. Finn, she whispers, I promise this isn't your fault. As people age, feelings change, for better or for worse. Your father feels that he needs to do something with his life. It's just, she chokes. It doesn't include us. Mom, I start. Did this problem begin when Ron disappeared, or were there always problems before? Mom looks at me, surprised. Well, things weren't always perfect. I mean, I would have liked him to be home more often, but I knew he traveled when I married him. But you're right. When Ron disappeared, and all the searches failed to find him, your father went into a deep depression, and we seemed to spend most of our time, when he was at home, arguing or fighting. I hated it, but nothing I said or did seemed to please him. I take a deep breath and think hard about what I need to say next. Mom, please understand that this is a very long shot, but what if I could find Ron and bring him home? Mom gasps. What are you talking about? How could you bring him home? I can't explain, and you'll have to trust me, but I think that I might have a way of finding him. If I can, I'll try and bring him back home. If you have a way to do that, then why haven't you done it before? You know how worried I've been. Because I've only just worked out how it can be done, but only if I'm lucky. And there's a downside. I'll be gone for a while. I'm not sure how long, but if this works out, you'll have us both back to look after you. Mom takes a second to gather herself. Finn, this is hard to believe, but you've always been the smartest one in the family. She smiles. All right, I'll take you at your word, but promise me that you, at least, will come back. I couldn't bear losing both of you. You won't. But I'll have to start tomorrow. Mom looks shocked. So soon? Couldn't you stay a little longer? You know I want to, Mom, but if this is to work out, I have to get started right away. I take her in my arms and give her a huge hug. Mom, I promise you that I'll do my very best. Now, just go to bed and try to get some sleep. I have a lot of work to do. Okay, I'll try. But don't stay up too late, will you? I'll be fine, Mom. Good night. Good night. And thank you. Mom heads off to her bedroom and I go down into my own room, flopping face down on the bed, shoving my head into my pillow in pure frustration. I know deep down this shouldn't be a surprise. Things have been tense between my parents for a long time, like a rope being pulled in opposite directions from each end. Today, that rope finally snapped. But to have Dad say he doesn't want anything to do with us, even if he does change his mind, the damage has been done. I'm not one to quickly forget when people hurt me or my family. However, right now, I need to find a way to distract myself from this troubling situation. Sitting on the edge of my bed, I mentally collect myself, washing my face in the downstairs washroom. Getting changed into some comfortable clothes, I sit cross-legged on the floor, flipping open the training manual. I read the lines of text with newfound determination. If I can't bring Ron back for both parents, I'll have to do it for Mom. That way, I'll finally see her smile again. When 3 a.m. comes, I'm lying in the fetal position on my mattress. I'm still not prepared for my exams. Duh. Here are the issues I've run into, boiled down into 2 points. First, the exam will be written in an alien language called Citadelis, formed by the High Council to seamlessly communicate between races. Guess what? I can't read Citadelis. Second, I only managed to get through a little over 3/4 of the book. I feel a sudden, overwhelming sense of dread. I close the book, setting it aside. I attempt to let the calm of the silent nighttime air ease my tension. It's no use. Not only will I be undereducated tomorrow, but I will also be lacking sleep. I shuffle under my blankets and I'm about to close my eyes when I notice that something's fallen out of my pants pocket. I pad across the carpeted floor and crouch on my knees. With a grin, I see that it's the Move Memorizer chip. I forgot to keep this on Altair. I hope I don't get in trouble for this. I roll the tiny chip between my fingertips, resting it on my palm. Miv gave this to me to help with the physical exam, but I can't even wear it for more than a second. I bite my lower lip, chewing furiously at the loose skin. I turn back to the book. Will it help me memorize this text? And can I bear the pain long enough for it to work? Only one way to find out. I guess tomorrow will give me my answer. Alright guys, thank you so much for joining me on another episode. We are now officially 145 pages in, guys. So we are getting there, and I hope that you're excited because after I'm done reading this book, I'll be able to read book 2 to you. So thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Both my books are available for purchase down below in the description, so please check those out. And lots of love. Stay healthy, stay happy, stay awesome. Bye.